Hi, this is Leah Myers, Myers Design Studio, and today we're going to be making a thread catcher for your sewing room and as a Christmas gift. As I promised, we're going to be doing Christmas gifts, and this is my first video on the series, and you can even take it with you and flatten it out. Anyway, let's get sewing. Okay, so you need a 13.5-inch square. 13.5. I've got one out of Soft and Stable, and you can use a Bosal product that's the same. It's a foam. This is Soft and Stable that I'm using. And this is my lining fabric. It's a 13.5-inch square as well. And I'm just going to put that on top of the foam like this. And then I'm going to get the top fabric right here, which is this pretty fabric, and I'll give you the name of it, of the designer on the bottom of the screen. This is really nice and be a cute thread catcher. So you want to iron it in half, and I've already done that. There's the iron mark right there. Make sure it's straight, but anyway, so you want to iron it in half. I've done that right here, and then you want to iron it again in half, so it's in quarters now. So now your piece is in quarters, and make sure that it's straight. Okay, and so you want to mark the outsides right here. Mark the outsides with the template, because this template is just 1/4 of this piece, and I made it that way so that you could print it out on one page. If you want, you can cut, print out that page 4 times and make a full-size template, but I just made it to where you could just put it on the quarter here, the quarter piece of fabric here. And so start marking, and I'm using a graphite pencil. The outer marks don't matter, on the edge, because when you sew that, you're going to sew that 1/4 of an inch in. But when I'm trying to make these really dark, and I looked for my markers that have, and you want to get really close to that line too. Oops, I'm sorry, you probably can't see over my fingers. You want to get close to that line, and here is the little gap you need to leave. It's a 1/4 of an inch gap. That's where this little flap's going to fold over, and you need a little room right here, a little room in that fabric to fold it over. And you can use this line as a reference, as I say on my sheet there. Use it as a reference, but I'm going to go ahead and mark it, so you mark this line too, so that when you flip it over, see, now they're all nice and dark. I've got little places where you can just do little tick marks. If you don't want to just draw the line, you could do little tick marks and then take a ruler and do it. All right, now you want to fold it over, and I'm just going to make sure I have that right, and I do. So at the fold, oops, it's not right. Yeah, there we go. So at the fold, you want to have this is the outside. This is where the fold is, and I want to center that on the fold. Yes, and now I'm going to mark this side. I'm going to do it all on camera. Just mark it. So I'll demonstrate. If you want to do it with the tick marks only, you do it this way. And let's just, you know, da-da-da. You could do the same thing. I didn't write them in, but you could just do it that way. If you want to do it like that. I'm just going to put a couple extra. I didn't write it in the pattern, but I will. All right, now, so you could just take a ruler, because if the paper's too floppy, then you can make your line like that. And then make sure you get that 1/4 inch right here written in. And my little pencil's got a little fat, so I gotta scoot it down a little bit. Like that. And then these two I can just do, and then that way. This actually might go a little faster. Oops. If I use the template, oops, my eraser fell off. Use the template as a guide. And this is much faster for you, because when I did the prototype, I was measuring everything, and so you can unfold it if you like. And that's what I'm going to do, because I like to see if I'm getting it all in the right direction. And I'm going to keep doing the tick mark thing. That did go faster. Okay, just like this. And you can like cut this little slit out if you want to get right there on that line. I don't think it's going to matter much. Right there. It's just a smidge. I'm just going to write that in. Yeah, and this is just a reference here. Oops, I'm not on the fold. Darn it. Okay, so I've made a mistake on camera. I got to put it on the center fold. Sorry. I'm glad I just did tick marks though. And I didn't draw the whole line, so I didn't go the whole way in the wrong direction. All right. And yeah, so I noticed when I came to this edge, this wasn't at the edge. That's when I noticed I was not in the right place. That is when I knew I was going off the rails. So, okay. All right. Just gonna do this line first, because there we go. I'm going to ignore these, and I'm going to ignore that, because I wasn't on. And you can use the ruler. That's a good, to make sure this is straight. It is. And I designed this to be really quick and easy, so that if you're going to make, like, I used to be a part of a guild that would make gifts that they would give away as door prizes. Or actually, the guild or it's not called a guild, it's a quilting group or whatever. They give door prizes too. But this is a neat container for, okay, so on the fold, right? On the center fold, put it on here. I'm going to just do this whole thing on camera, and I'm going to do the tick marks again. And at the tick marks, I'm making little dashes. I'm going to make a little corner here. See, as I do it, I develop a method that, and little dashes. Doop, doop, doop. Okay. And then now I'm going to draw the line. I'm going to do this line first. Oops, there we go. And draw it. And on these drawn lines, you're going to sew right on the line. Make sure that's straight. Yeah. you're going to sew right on the line. So that makes that easy. And this is the fabric you'll be sewing on too, the side. Okay. And that looks good to me. Oops, sticking to me. Oops, pencil's fat. Accommodate the point of the pencil here. And that was the darkest thing I could get to that would show up on camera. I'm like, ignore these guys. I wish I could erase them, but I can't because it's not fabric. Okay, now after you get this done, put your lining and your foam down. This is right side up. The lining's right side up. And this is right side down, because we're going to turn this out like a pillow. And you would think that this wouldn't work because I have these little corners, but it does. I took a big risk in designing it this way, but it works. Okay, and now in these spaces, these are the little rectangles we're going to cut away later. I'm going to pin this down, all 3 layers. And I'm not even going to get near that pin when I sew, right? I am not getting anywhere near that pin. Okay. And that is what I'm going to do. And that's where I'm going to secure everything. And I have a picture on my pattern how I have it done. I actually took pictures and placed them on the pattern this time instead of just drawings. So, and there you go. And we got it already pinned and we're ready to sew it. Okay, to start off with, you need to remember to put a gap at the top. And I'm going to use clips for this. I like to either pin or clip to make myself remember not to sew all the way across, right? That way. And I'm just going to start here. But when I get to this clip, I'm going to remember not to sew there because I need a gap to turn all of this stuff inside out. Okay, and that's just for you to, if you make a mistake and you've sewn all the way across, reinforce one side a couple times, reinforce a couple times right here, and then pick out the stitches in between. I know that because I've done it. I've done pretty much every mistake. So on the edges, sew 1/4 inch right here on the side of the foot. And this foot is 1/4 inch, right? So I'm going to sew to the edge of that foot, and I'm going to go down because I'm giving myself at least 3 inches, and even more if you can manage it. Just remember to get those corners because it's hard to make a corner when you turn something inside out. So I'm just going to go right here, put my foot down, and I'm using my widest stitch. Well, not my widest. I shouldn't do that. About 2.5. 2.5. Yeah. When I was doing my widest, that's when I was doing my Velcro. Velcro can be tricky. So when you begin, okay, and then back stitch. Oops. Come on, back stitch. Oh, hold on. What is going on here? Here we go. There we go. Okay, so you want to pivot with your needle down, of course, and I did it perfect. Oops, nope, I did not. What I want to do is I want to sew on this line. So, and I want to get right on that line. And it's going to go a little too far. So there we go. And then turn it. And now it's easy. You just follow the line. follow the line down and hold it with soft and stable or foam or what. It kind of wants to pucker, so just kind of go hold it tight between your fingers or hands like this, kind of press. I find that helps because it'll pucker. Okay, now we're getting to the inner corner. Okay, that's going to go too far. Okay. And using that template, it's super fast. My prototype, I was measuring it, get the roller, and so template makes your life a lot easier. Okay, now we want to make sure we're at 1/4 inch and pivot. I did a good job with that. I'm pretty proud of myself there. Okay. And now we're going to sew on the line. Make sure my stitch ends up there. Okay. So right on the line where the flaps are. These are the little flaps that go in to form the box that we're making. And this is a clever little thing, I think, because you can really go, okay, all right, yeah. And you just keep turning it until you get those lines sewn. Okay, stop at 1/4 inch, see if I did it. Yep. And if you have, okay, I want needle down so I can pivot, and I want to be on that line, so let's make sure. It's a vintage machine, so you don't have the needle down feature as you do on some of the newer machines. Okay. I want to be right on that line. Oops. No, that's not. Okay, just takes a little bit of messing around here. Get on that line. Okay, I'm not too far. Okay, because you don't want to sew over. I didn't make a stitch there, so. But if you did, okay. Let's see if I can just back it up a little bit so I can turn it. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay. Now I'm not at my beginning spot. I'm just making sure. All right, 1/4 inch from the edge, on the edges. Yeah. Okay. I landed right on it. That's perfect. I wish it happened every time. See, and I'm not even hitting these pins right here. See, that's where I mismarked, but I'm ignoring those. And it's on the wrong side of the fabric, so I'm not going to worry about it bleeding through. And if you mark your pattern or fabrics, you can use a more fabric safe marking implement marker. Okay. And we're almost done. Okay, good. Okay, that is, I think, 1/4 inch. Oops. And I've got my clip to remind me. Made a little bit of a mess there. I'm going to clip this because it's going to pop out when I turn. Okay. And it's, okay, let me put the needle down right there. Okay, perfect. And I'm not going to go all the way across. I'm just going to go a little bit in, back stitch, because that helps so this doesn't pull out when we're trying to pull on the fabric to make this thing inside out, get this inside out. Okay, oops. And I've just run out of bobbin thread. I was thinking I might run out because I sewed that whole one, the prototype before. But anyway, that is how we sew. As you can see, you sew all the way around and then you give yourself a gap right here so you can turn it inside out. Okay, so now I'll reposition the camera and we'll turn it inside out and I'll show you how to prepare it from there. Okay, now it's time to trim this away from where you've stitched. And the crucial part is just to trim in between this little line of stitching, this 1/4 inch line of stitching. So just trim carefully up to the stitching on the bottom, not on it. Yeah, just a little bit more. Okay, up to, and then just turn it. And I trim 1/8 inch because you've got that foam in there. If you do 1/4 inch, it's a little too much. So, and it's so close you don't need to clip the corners, but if you are worried about it, you can clip the corners, you know, little corners. Don't clip the stitching, clip the corners, and you have a little rectangle after that. And just repeat, you just cut down in the center of that little stitch channel there, and just 1/8 inch away. Don't cut the stitching. There we go. There's another little rectangle. See, those, and turn it. Okay, right between that little, because that's where the flap's gonna bend. Yeah. And if you're doing a lot of these, if you're doing it for a group, you could just do like do a whole bunch, and you can get them done quick. I wanted this to be really quick because there are a lot of elaborate patterns out there. Okay, right up to, but don't clip the stitches. And I want it to be so quick that you could do this for a whole group, or you can make like little containers for other things. It doesn't have to be just for thread, and I'll show you that later. Okay, so now I'm done with this. We're going to turn it, and here's where the magic happens. We just grab it, and see, we've got these layers inside here. And this will take some time. And I just grab it with my hands at first and start pulling like that until I get it kind of turned out like this. And you just keep turning. And I'm using a chopstick that I got out of my kitchen. And with my hands, I'm just kind of gently coaxing it. If you've made a pillow, this is the same process. And this will be like the most time-consuming thing of the process. But you turn it inside out. And it does go like magic. My prototype. And be careful not to poke. So every now and then grab with your fingers like that. And it will eventually all turn out. And you'll see the little flaps too. I was totally amazed on how this worked out. And it does. There's one little flap. And I can put my little chopstick in there. And on my prototype, I was a little aggressive. I went through some stitches. So I'm going to try not to do that here. Yeah, that turned out okay. There's one. Oops. Did I? Oh, good. You just want to be careful. I'll try to be careful. You can fix it if you do poke it through. You just turn them when you on the ironing stage. You turn it. Okay. There's another one. It's another flap out. It's amazing how this works. It really does, and it is not. It's a fast thing. It's really fast. And I just kind of do this, you know, with my fingers. And there's a flap here. It needs to come out. All right. Let's grab my little stick. I got to be gentle with this. Think gentle. Don't poke through the stitches. Yeah. And I just kind of, between my fingers, I coax it out. And I will actually poke, you know, go through and straighten these out, or get the corners out just a little bit. Man, I'm doing such a good job not poking through stitches this time. My prototype, I had an issue. So now you have the last one, the last flap right here. And where is oh, there it is. There's the little corner. Coax the little corner out. And there's a little corner here because I stitched that. Right. Oops. Throwing things around here. No problem. And there's the last little corner. So when you sew this little, let's move it out a little bit. When you sew this, you can get do the corners, like I said before, because they're super hard to make when you are sewing or are trying to put them in later. Okay, now I'm going to stop and we're going to do the next step. We're going to iron this because right now it's not, doesn't look perfect. But once we iron this, we're going to iron it flat and we're going to do the next step and I'll show you how to close this little gap up, okay? Okay, so with a hot iron and steam, start ironing this flat and it will go flat. The soft and stable, you can, I don't know, you could probably use a fusible foam, but it doesn't matter. I don't know if that would matter. And the corners may be a little puckery, don't worry. Because all of this is going to go on the outside, so they're going to go away. I had a plan in my head, and it worked. We're gonna go ahead and start finishing this. Yeah. And I take it on the other side and I steam. You know, iron it flat. This is the inside. I love this fabric. It's so cute. It's very neat. I'll show you at the end. And it's really nice. Okay, now this is where we need to close this. And if you can close this without trimming the foam, I trim the foam slightly, and you can see that on my pattern. I just shave off a little bit of the foam right here, just a smidge, like, you know, and not cutting don't cut the outer fabric or the lining. And I have a lot of little strings. I don't want to get in my way. So clean that up a little bit, because fabric frays. And so fold this down so you can have a straight seam. I'm going to fold the lining down first, and then iron, and then I'll fold the top in so we can close that gap up. And now I'm going to fold this one in and make it pretty, because we're going to top stitch next, and this will close. You're closing this with the top stitching, and it just takes a little bit. This is not a hard part to do, just takes a little bit. And then once you get it, like, finger press it pretty good with your fingers. And we're doing a 1/4 inch, you know, as close to a 1/4 inch fold there. If any of you guys have done pillows, and I just pin it down because I do not want any of those to flip back out, right? And we're gonna top stitch this. And the other thing we're gonna do, well, we're gonna top stitch first, and then we'll make the folds for the flaps, because you have to stitch those to make them fold. Okay, so now let's top stitch. All right, so carefully 1/8 of an inch away, and I start where I closed this up. So I want to close this up with the top stitching. So it's 1/8 of an inch away, because I want to make sure I get that. And I'm going to back stitch as I begin. And you just sew all the way around, 1/8 of an inch away, making sure you close that. And travel around. Oops. Sometimes you gotta give it a little, because some of that foam is in there too. And it's like, hey, I've got bulk in here. I don't want to go. And you just top stitch all the way. I didn't go too far, just one more. There we go. And it's small enough to fit under the thread, no matter what. I gotta pull that little corner out a little better, okay? Oops, I pulled my thread out of a guide. Move that up a little bit. Okay. One more. And yeah, it's all you do. So you just top stitch the top down, 1/8 of an inch. And see, that was fast. We're not having to make a binding or anything. We're just turning it around, we're top stitching, and then basically after this, all we have to do is put the Velcro on, and then we're done. Come on. It's not liking that second layer of foam in there. I don't know why. It's like, it'll do it though. It's my little feed dogs there. Okay. Come on. keep going all the way around. And you can tell how long this will take you, because this will be, you could probably work on this a lot faster. I'm having to explain as I go. So you probably get this done faster than me here. And it's so cool that top stitching is like magic. It's where you get the whole thing finished. And it gives you a cute little edge too, because of the foam inside. Whoop. There we go. Had my foot on the gas. It's just going. More. Yeah. So anyway, while I keep doing this, I'll talk about my channel some. If you're new here, I'm Leah Myers. I'm a designer. I create patterns, and I'm a YouTube creator. I'm a graphic designer too, which helps because I use my skills to create the patterns. And skills I've learned either in college or just experience. This thing is popping out of these thread guides for some reason. I don't know why. And anyway, I decided at the beginning of this year to start a YouTube channel. And my family they always were like, just start a channel. You know, they're always trying to encourage me, and I wasn't brave enough. And beginning of this year, I was like, yeah, I'll start one. My family's very supportive. And anyway, that's what I do. I try to, if I find a pattern I like and I get permission to use it on the channel, I'll use it. But so far I've just used my own that I've dreamt up. Because I have, on vacation, I'll take just for fun, I will take my design books. I'll take photographs, I'll get inspiration, and I'll take my design books with me, and I'll just start drawing out patterns. And so that's why I started the YouTube channel, so that I can get these patterns out there. Anyway, so just clip your threads. Now the 1/4 inch, because this is where it's going to fold. So that's a fold line where you want to stitch. So you want to make a line of stitching where it folds. Okay, so you want to mark it. And I'm going to just begin marking it here. And I'm going to use a ruler, and I have a ruler right here. And from that little, and I have a picture, from that I want to make a straight line right where that little thing, where that little indentation is. And I put my pencil right there where the little pivot point is, and I've rested my ruler on it, and I'm perfectly straight going up, and just make a line that you can see. I can't see that line. Make sure everything's lined up. It's got to be straight on the top, and you've got to, because it will naturally want to fold there. And there we go. My pencil, I think, is getting a little dull here. And I want to make sure I can see that. This is going to be on the inside, and I'm not going to worry about it. And it's for you guys to see. And I've made a line right here, right there where that pivot, this pivot's here, you want to make a line. So that's where you're going to stitch. So let me mark the rest of them. And I like that pencil idea. Just put your pencil here, put a roller next to it, and then make a line. Make sure it's straight. Yep, make a line. You can use a fabric safe marker, something that's water soluble, whatever shows up on your fabric. Better. Personally, this is never going to be seen because it's going to be on the inside, unless you unfold it and you can see the lines. And that's how I designed this, to be able to unfold, and you can take it with you, so you can travel with it as a thread catcher. But you can also use it for other things, and I'll show you in a minute. Yes. And I made these flaps a little bigger, so it gives it a little more structure as it's standing. All right, now for the bottom, you want to mark those lines too. And on the bottom, you want to just connect where you've, so it's going to fold right here, exactly where these little spaces are, right? So you want to make a line in between to make the bottom. Okay, so let me make sure you can see this. I'll do it on this side. I think it's a little easier to see. So you want to make a line in between these two places where they fold. So just mark it. And then sew on top of the stitching. Honestly, when I did my prototype, I just eyeballed where that was going to go, and I just straight stitched it without marking it. But for teaching purposes, I will mark it anyway. In between those little 1/4-inch gaps. It's hard to give a name to everything. I try. All right. And I can see that. Yes. Okay, and just mark it. And now we're going to get the top stitching done, or where the folds are. And then next will be the Velcro. Put the Velcro on. And since I have all this marked, I can just go ahead. I'm going to start my stitching. I'm going to back stitch a little bit so I can make sure. And it'll want to pucker because it's foam. Just lift it up, relax the fabric. And I'm just going to go straight across. Until I get to the next fold. Now, I'll need to, maybe I'll just do, because I'm not exactly on that line, and I want to be on that line. So I'm going to take that stitching off, take it off, and then stitch where that flap folds, exactly. And you can fold it to make sure you have the line right. And it'll just naturally want to do it. See, once pucker, lift your foot a little bit, that foam. Okay. All right, I'm just going to do all the flaps. I'm not going to cut the threads. I'm just going to keep going like that. That's what I did on my prototype anyway. I just kept sewing. Oops, I didn't backstitch. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it right now. Backstitch there. Okay, like that, backstitch. And I'm not going to clip the threads. I'm just going to go to the next line. So just go to the next line, keep going. You want this to be as fast as possible. And stick on that line. Okay, now I'm going to finish up the bottom. I already have one sewn. I'm not going to clip my threads. I'm going to just sew on the line where the bottom is. Right there. Oops. There we go. And it wants to pucker the, and up, back. There we go. Perfect. Turn it. So we're forming the bottom now. Okay. Puckering. It's not, so the good thing is on the other side it's going to look pretty. And this is the lining. So if it puckers on the lining, it's not going to be terrible. All right, and put my needle down. Got back up a little bit. All right, and sew straight across. And the reason why you want to stitch the places where it folds is because that soft and stable will naturally want to fold there and make your project look good. And so clip all the threads off. And since I just chain sewed the flaps, it should be pretty quick. And then next we'll start putting the Velcro on, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now we're going to put the Velcro on. I've cut 4 pieces of the hook and the soft part of Velcro, 3 3/4 inch. 2 pieces together is how, they come apart. And I buy it in big rolls. I got 3/4 inch, inch wide Velcro. And this is like 12.6 yards. It'll be a while before I need to buy more. Maybe forever. And so, as you can see in this example, the first prototype, which turned out great, I was very happy. You want to put the hook part on the edge, right where that little 3/4 inch gap is, and you want it to be not on top of the stitching, but just a smidge over, and I clip this. I've got clips in here. I clip this so it doesn't move. And on the inside, I can get 2 clips on. There we go. Make sure that's, and do that with all 4 sides. I'm going to use my example here. And then you sew it on. Pretty simple. And you clip. There we go. Clip that on. And it doesn't take very long, and you just secure it. Right? Let's put this over here. And I just sew, the Velcro has a little lip on it. I like to sew on that lip, especially on the hook part. This, I've had problems in the past with Velcro coming off, but if I do that stage, where I sew on that lip. It usually works out better. And I backstitch a couple of times when I secure Velcro. And I want to get needle down on the lip thingy. And just carefully secure that down. On the sides, one row of stitches is good. But on the ends, you need to go back and forth a couple times. And I'll do that a couple times. Because the Velcro will come undone. You don't want that. And this goes pretty quick. Backstitch where you began. And cut off the threads. Be as neat as I can. And keep going. And this is a nice Christmas gift for someone who sews because they can use this to travel with. Put threads in. It'll lie flat in their bag. And they'd be super surprised to get something this neat. I personally think this is really neat. And I'm using mine. I'm giving away one. I'm going to keep one. But out of one strip of fabric, I used with the fabric, I got 3 of these 13.5-inch squares. So that's kind of neat. You can get 3 thread catchers, and it only uses 13.5-inch squares and soft and stable. So it's not going to use a lot of soft and stable either. Nice. All right, I'm going to keep sewing these down, and then we're going to start on the other side with the soft part. Okay, now we're ready to put the soft part of the tape inside. And you want to put it just about 1/8 of an inch away from, because it's got a fold right here, right? And you don't want to see the Velcro. So here's the Velcro, and it's about 1/8 of an inch. The way you could tell is if you fold it on that line right there, you just put it just shy of that edge right there. I can see it, so like that. And there's the stitching right here. See where it's got to go? About 1/8 of an inch. It's not quite a quarter. So, and that's where I clipped one end right here, and I can't reach a clip in, so I have to pin it here to put that soft part on. And now I've got 2 left to sew on this side, because I did, watching me sew the whole thing. Although it's beautiful, it's nice to watch a vintage sewing machine sew. I love vintage sewing machines. And the next sewing machine we're going to feature will be the 201. I have one upstairs in a cabinet, and I love it. I also have one down here in a case, beautiful bentwood case, super pretty. I'm going to do a long video of that. My sister's going to help me because she's the one who knows all about these machines, and I'm learning all sorts of things from her. Super nice, love it. I really appreciate my sister helping me with this. I just have 2 left, and then we'll close it up and see what it looks like. Yep. I clip my threads as I go. So and even when I do that, somehow they multiply. I don't know how. It's like magic. Right? Magic. And yeah, this probably is the most time consuming part, putting the Velcro on, but it's so nice. It gives the sides a bit of a structure because they're kind of big stiff, and it's really neat. And okay, pull that pin out. Yes, there we go. We're almost done. And done. I clip these threads and I'll show you how it folds up. Take the needle out so I can take it out of the machine. That would be nice. Okay. We are done with this. Thread catcher. Okay. So just like my prototype, oops, see, I told you. Those threads, they multiply. Oh, they're all loose, so I'm not going to worry about it. So you just fold it up, matching the Velcro, like that. And there you have it. There is, let's see, there is, and the prototype. Well, this turned out even nicer than my prototype. Using that template really helped. Then just like eyeball, well, not eyeball, but measuring it. And I kind of pinch the Velcro closed. See, it's just side better. Oops. Velcro just grabs. There we go. And the bottom, get it to fold. There we go. Yeah. And there's the one we made on camera. And the one that I made before, I've been messing with it. It's got all the folds. So as you use it, it'll fold a little easier. And there we go. Perfect. So what's even nice, so you can use this as a thread cut and your hand will go in there, to grab the threads. Or if you're, traveling, you just, put it flat in your bag. This goes flat in your bag like that. Just lie it flat. And that's awesome. But what the other thing I found, this is actually strong enough because I used the Velcro and the flaps are big. You can put your stuff in it, like your thread cutter. I got a flashlight, a pen here. You can use it on your desk to put stuff in it. Perfect. Even this chopstick, although it's kind of big. But anyway, I hope. And the other idea is this can be a nice thing you can put on your desk. But the other thing I really designed this for is you can just fill this thing with chocolate or quilting gifts, things like that. Put like a cellophane and a bow on the top. And this would be an awesome Christmas gift. And that's why I started this video series on Christmas gifts. So if you have a person you know that sews, they'd absolutely love this. So they'd have this chocolate or quilting stuff inside, whatever they need. And then you wrap it up in a bow and you hand it to them. They'd love it. I'd love it. I'd love chocolate. With some chocolate, yes. Anyway, that would be a perfect Christmas gift. If you're not a sewer or a quilter, you can still make this for someone you know. It'll be a surprise. If you could, it'd be a surprise for them, and they'd absolutely love it and appreciate it. But yeah, if you're taking this traveling, you can put your hand in here, you can grab all the threads, you can undo it like this and then take all the threads out like that. I mean, it's super versatile. You can either, however you like to use this. It's strong enough to, now if you have a huge heavy thing, like heavy scissors, it won't hold that, but it will hold, smaller, lighter things. That's going to topple but anyway, and pens. I mean, however you like to use this. You can use it for threads. You can use it for something to organize your desk with. Or use it for clips, put clips in there. So I did say that if you didn't want to use Velcro, there is another way. So you get this done, you got all the flaps and everything done, you're making a ton of these, like for a group or something, and you don't want to use it and lie it flat, you're not going to go through all that trouble. Just, if you have a machine that has a free arm, and a free arm is a smaller, you take off this top piece and it'll have a little arm, you can actually just, after you get done with all the other steps, just sew this closed all the way around like a shirt cuff. Just sew it. You don't have to deal with the Velcro. Just sew a seam all the way down, all the way around, and that will close it. And yeah, you're not going to have it, it's not going to be fastened right here, but that depends on how far you can sew down that, free arm. But right here on the very top, if you just sew this closed, you can, make it that way too. If you don't want to deal with the Velcro. Not everybody likes Velcro. I do, because the other thing, if you don't use the Velcro, it won't be as stiff on the corners, because the Velcro helps give it structure. But just in case, if you want to do it even faster than this, that's one option. And I appreciate you watching and subscribing and commenting and everything else. I really appreciate you guys being out there. And thank you for supporting my channel. It's been really, really nice. And I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.